I just finished watching Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender, and before we get started, I just want to say it's a good movie. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a huge Avatar fan like I am. If I had to sum it up, I would say that it is a good first step. It's a solid movie with a lot going for it, and I'm really looking forward to where they take this, so long as they improve on some of the things that I found in this movie that just kind of stuck out to me as odd, and stuff that took a movie that could have easily been great, excellent, and just made it good, fun, okay, yeah, like, sure, I guess it was good. And that's kind of where I'm landing. I'm like, yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was really fun to watch and see, like, the little things that they added, the nods to the originals. There were a little too many references here and there, but all in all, I just liked seeing the gang back together, and the voice actors they had for it, like, I wasn't really too bothered about it. I know a lot of people are like, these aren't the original, or they didn't even try, and, you know, whatever. I thought it was fine, so. But let's get into some of the details. So the thing I'm going to talk about in this movie is specifically the script and the writing and the storytelling and the characters. I'm not really interested in any of the drama around it, or I might touch a little bit on the animation, right? But for me, I'm a storyteller, and I think this movie kind of hits you right on the head at the very beginning. That signals maybe this isn't going to be the best thing I've ever seen. Right at the beginning of the film, without any spoilers, Aang finds himself in conflict with someone. And during their fight, an accident happens where that person could get seriously injured, and though he is fighting them, he goes out of his way to mitigate harm to them. At some point in the fight, he's lying on the ground, and they're standing over him, and they look at him, and they say, "You saved me." And then someone says, "Hey, come on, let's go." And immediately I just thought, like, why'd you say that? Like, yeah, he knows that he saved you, and you know that he saved him. Who are you talking to? You're talking to me, the audience, but you don't need to tell me. I just watched the whole thing. This might sound like a nitpick, and especially if you're someone who maybe writes stories and doesn't really focus much on scripts, you might think like, yeah, no, I guess that can make sense, right? But you have to understand that this is a visual medium, right? Like, we're watching this take place, and we've talked about it 1,000 times. And I don't want to say it, but show don't tell. You just have the one character look down at Aang and just think, and just pause. And then someone says, "Hey, we gotta go." And they linger, and then they walk away. And that's totally fine. We would absolutely get the idea, because we just saw, wow, you two were just in conflict, and he actually went out of his way to mitigate harm to you, and now we're seeing something in your eyes. You're just standing there, we're watching. And people can say, well, yeah, but this is for kids. Like, so kids are smart. Kids are really intuitive with these kind of things. They can read emotions off people really well. And I just don't think that's a very good excuse. And the reason I bring this up is because it kind of signals right away to your brain, like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if this film is going to be fantastically written. And, you know, it's just, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't even notice it, right? Like, if it was done right, you wouldn't even clue into that, because it would just be so seamless. But the fact that it is there kind of makes you take pause, or at least made me take pause. The next thing I want to discuss is how they treat the characters in this. If you're at all familiar with the original show, it is Team Avatar, right? You have your main characters are all together in one troop, and yes, while Aang is the central character, he's nothing without his team. And I found that in this film, there was definitely a separation. It was Aang and the gang, right? It wasn't everyone together. It seemed like they didn't really know what to do with the other characters. It definitely seemed like this was going to be like an Aang movie, but they're like, well, we need to include Zuko and Toph, and, but like, they didn't really know what to do with them, so they're just kind of around while Aang is going through his whole thing. Clearly, the people who made this were huge fans of Avatar, and yes, I know that the original writers were part of this, but then it also felt like they somehow didn't understand the base material. And I think a very good example of that is Sokka. So Sokka in the original show, he is kind of the comic relief, right? He's the only person in the gang who can't do any bending. He can't use any magic like the other people can. I don't know why I say magic. Like, if you guys are watching this, you know the original show. So he's the only one who can't bend like the others. But it doesn't really come up as much for him. He does have one episode where he starts to feel self-conscious, like, well, I'm not like you guys. I'm so useless in certain situations. When you watch the show, you understand that he's smart. He's a tactician. He's an inventor. You know, he's a very intelligent person, and he's able to think in a way that the others aren't. The problem is that in the movie, they just relegate him to being the funny guy. That's it. He doesn't really have any points of ingenuity. There's a point in the film where he's on a blimp and he doesn't know how things are working or what to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, he invented the blimp in the show. Like, he was a partial inventor of it, I guess you could say, right? But he was like very knowledgeable about the inner workings of how these things functioned. Like, he's a scientist. That's kind of like one of his main defining features. And the fact that in the film he doesn't know how to operate the thing, all he does is kind of like wiggly biggly, like, ooh, I'm so silly, look at me running around, right? But it's like the other characters start to have to do stuff without him. For instance, Zuko, who's not really meant to be very good with machines. During this whole thing with the blimp, he understands that he needs to get the boilers to be really hot. So he goes in there and he starts firing, fire into it. And Zuko is like the one commanding the situation, which it just didn't really make sense to me, because that's not really how his character is supposed to work, right? Obviously he's not supposed to be just some like random follower, right? But this is a situation where Sokka very much was supposed to be the one in charge and supposed to be the one telling people what to do and showing that he has value to the group, but instead he's just like the comic relief. And that's kind of his role for the whole thing. They have this very, very bizarre scene at the very end where during the big fight, he like makes a weird bike invention, and it's just, I don't know what happened. Like, I watched it and I was like, yeah, I mean, that was my expression during his fight. It was very bizarre. The next character that had a lot of issues I found was Katara, and in the original show, Katara is supposed to be motherly. She doesn't really like taking risks. She doesn't like putting people in harm's way. She likes to bet on a sure thing, and she likes to stop and think things through. But sometimes you can't do that. You just have to act on instinct, as some of the other characters have to show her. There's a situation where Team Avatar and the Avatar need to work together, but separately. He's kind of a little further ahead and they're a little further behind. They're really struggling with their task, but he's equally struggling with his. He at one point wants to abandon his task to go and help them, but someone that he's working with says, no, you have to trust your friends. And honestly, he was right. So, surely enough, they overcome their objective, and when they finally reunite, Katara gets all mad at Aang and says, I can't believe you abandoned us. But he didn't abandon you. You guys are still working together. If he came back to help you, you would have been screwed. And also, at the same time, he was trusting that you didn't need his help, that you could overcome this task yourself. And while sure, it would have been nice for him to be there, he still had other things to do. So it just didn't really make sense that she would be upset about him thinking that she could get something done, and then she still did get it done. Like, yeah, it was tough, but like, the whole situation is tough. It just felt like they were really trying to manufacture drama for the sake of drama. And the thing is, when she gets angry at Aang, he's nothing but understanding. He is like, I am so sorry. I understand that was a really difficult position, but I had to make a call. And you know what? Yeah, he did. So I'm sitting here taking Aang's side, and we're suddenly supposed to be angry at Katara, but like, why should I be angry at her? I like her. She's a main character. Like, why is she acting this way? It was just so bizarre. It felt bad. It just wasn't good. Yeah, I don't know. So the last thing I want to talk about, it is going to have to do a little bit with the animation, but that's only because the last act of this movie just ends in a big fight between two people, and it's something I've been noticing a lot in Western media recently, especially the Marvel movies, where at the end of the day it's just whoever can punch the other person the hardest, or whoever can throw the biggest rock is going to be the winner in the end. It's nothing about being clever or, you know, being interesting in any way. I think the best way to say this is that while I was watching this film, it is absolutely gorgeous, by the way, right? But the fight scenes were just so boring. It's just the same things I've seen over and over again. It's one thing I've especially noticed in Western animation is that these animators end up being such huge fans of anime that they just want to pay homage and do the exact same things that they've seen in anime. But while they're doing that, they're not doing any innovations themselves. There's one frame that it's the same thing that happens in every anime I've been seeing recently, and it happens in this film several times. It's when the character hits their back against the ground and then they rebound and they're like, oh, and it's just like every single time it's the exact same thing. It's like I have seen this 1,000 million times and yet you're showing it to me again. The reason I bring that up is because after watching this film, I was like, man, I really just need to see some good action again. So immediately I went to Jujutsu Kaisen, which is an anime, season 2, you probably know this, just to rewatch those fight scenes, because while I'm not really a big fan of the show, honestly, I think it's pretty, I want to say it's kind of bad, but the fight scenes are absolutely fantastic. And what makes the fight scenes in Jujutsu Kaisen so great is that they're innovative. There's so many things that you've just never seen done, or you've just never seen them done in that way. For instance, Gojo, who's like the most powerful character in any anime ever, he has a force field around him that people can't penetrate. So what he does is when he's fighting one of his enemies, he pins them against the wall and just keeps walking towards them until they splatter into dust. And then in that very same episode, he essentially casts a spell that freezes everybody for 300 seconds, they say, right? And during this time, he goes ape mode. He goes absolutely crazy. And he rushes through a crowd of people, picking out the enemies and ripping their heads off. There is not a single time in the Avatar Aang movie where I was really impressed by the animation in terms of the fight, because it was just so boring. There's one scene where someone gets punched into the water and it's like a shallow puddle, and then suddenly the water separates and it's just dirt beneath them. That was pretty cool. That's the only thing I can think of that was really interesting, because then at the end, it's literally just like two superhumans just punching each other and throwing spells at each other, and whoever can throw the spell the fastest is like the most amazing. When I'm thinking of how to write a fight scene, I want it to be visually interesting, and it needs to be unique, something you haven't really seen done before, right? I mean, that I think should be the goal of any scene when you're doing. You don't want to just write something that someone else has already written. I think when they approached this fight scene, they should have had a goal, right? And the goal shouldn't just be, I'm going to punch you, and the other guy goes, no, I'm going to punch you. No, in a fight scene, there has to be dynamics, there has to be juxtaposition, there has to be differing goals. With the antagonist, it should have easily been, yeah, I just want to beat this guy up. I just want to beat up Aang. But Aang's goal should have been different. It shouldn't have been, I want to beat him. It should be something like, I want to disarm him, right? Because Aang has something very unique to him, and that's one, he can enter the avatar state. He has access to the power of every avatar before him, which is apparently quite a long lineup, so he's incredibly powerful, and he has the ability to take people's bending away. I think immediately what the goal should have been is that disarm this person, use the avatar state to be fast, to get into where I need to get, and to disarm this person of their bending, right? I think that would have just added so much amazing contrast. It would have been so cool. Just imagine this fight. Aang is fighting this other bender. They're trying to beat him up. He has to get in close to place his palm like on their head, and for just a second they glow as he's trying to take away their bending, but they punch his chest and he goes flying away. But he has to get right back in there. He puts his hand on their chest, on their back, on their arm, on their head, anywhere, just so he can get that chance to finally disarm them. And you're wondering, is he going to disarm them first, or are they going to beat him first? They have two different goals, and it's just so much more interesting than I'm just going to beat you up. The other thing they could have done is maybe instead of just beating the other person up, make it a race or something. They both have to get to the thing. Aang is always a pacifist. He doesn't want to just beat someone down so he can get to the location. But the other person doesn't care. They grab him by the leg, they toss him in the ground, and they just start running. But he comes up and he creates obstacles for them, so they have to be more nimble, and they can't just, bash their way through. Or maybe they can, right? And that's interesting too. No matter what he does, he can't slow them down because he's unwilling to take the steps that this other person is willing to take, right? Like, just off the top of my head, I can think of a billion different ways that they could have made this conflict so much more interesting. But unfortunately, they just went to the punch him, air push, okay, punch, okay, yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm really passionate about this because the Avatar state to me is one of my favorite things, because it is the nuke. It's the thing that just ends the conflict. The whole end of The Last Airbender is Ozai, and he's beating the crap out of Aang because Aang can't access the Avatar state, and Ozai accidentally triggers the Avatar state, and Aang reaches out from the rubble and pulls Ozai toward him, and suddenly Ozai realizes, I've lost. I can't beat this thing, this entity. It's not even a person at this point. It's a god. And he turns tail and runs for his life. And suddenly this whole thing of him beating the crap out of Aang suddenly turns into Aang plowing through every single obstacle in his way because he is an unstoppable monster. And he finally gets to Ozai, puts his hand on him, and just essentially overcomes his soul. So good, man. It's incredible. And oh man, and they just did such a disservice to the Avatar state in this. Anyway, I just bring this up because it's something that unfortunately Korra fell into a lot, was underpowering the Avatar state, and it's something that this film does as well too. Outside of that, I've said my gripes. Again, it's a good film. I do recommend it. I cannot overstate how absolutely gorgeous this film is. Really beautiful. Loved the animation. Loved the voice actor for Aang. He did a fantastic job. I went in with such low expectations, but he was fantastic. He had the mannerisms down. He really did seem just like an older version of Aang. Sokka as well too, the voice actor. I kind of thought it was him for a little bit. He's fantastic. Zuko, Toph, Katara especially too. She was I don't want to put people down, but she was not right for this role, let's say. You know how they say there's iPhone face? This person had iPhone voice, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to describe it, but anyways, it was distracting. But yeah. Oh, also one little thing I wanted to talk about. Who's the bad girl that turns good? Who's she? Why is she there? it's the whole time I was like, do you even have a name? It's she's cute, I guess. They definitely made a cute anime girl. You can tell they're oh, this girl, people are gonna like her. I didn't, for one. God, she was just, oh man, her lines were so bad. It was just the most written by an actual 5-year-old. It was incredible. You saved me. Yeah, I know. We just saw that. We can't fight him. He saved us. Yeah, okay, great. Just Don't say that. Look at your commanding officer when they give you an order and just show a bit of doubt on their face. Show hesitation. Don't make them verbalize their feelings. Well, I've lost my blue light. I guess we've been talking for a while, but yeah, anyway, bizarre. Before my other light goes, inevitably, highlights. Yeah, I think voice acting was good, animation was great, story was pretty good, honestly. I don't have a problem with it. I like the idea of like this mysterious figure. I think the idea of being a peacekeeper your whole life and just constantly being punished for it is very interesting theme. You know, I'm not gonna apologize for the police for this, but you know, if you're like a cop or something, right, I can very easily understand why some cops would be like, I can't believe everyone's always hating on cops. We're just trying to keep the peace. It's like, yeah, no, I get that, right? I'm not. Oh, yeah, all cops are bastard. All cops are bastard. But what? Who said that? Did someone say all cops are? I swear, all cops are bastard. That's so weird, but you know, it's like a very realistic thing that I can see a lot of people believing. No point in the story did I think that Aang was acting stupid or like making poor decisions, and nor did I think the antagonist was making bad decisions. I mean, obviously I didn't disagree. I didn't agree with his decisions. I thought he was doing bad things, right? But he was justified in the way that he acted, and I think he was pretty interesting. And Bautista, you know, he's my first interaction with Bautista was in 2002's WWE SmackDown versus Raw. So you know, it's weird to be like, yeah, no, David Bautista's voice acting was pretty good in that Avatar movie. Man, I really never thought I'd say that, but you know, here we are. So really good first steps. Would love to see more. I'm genuinely really excited to see the rest. If it comes to theaters, I do want to see it in theaters. If it comes to streaming, then I'll rent it or something, because I really do want to support this team. I don't want Paramount to be like, well, this was a complete failure, so we're not going to make another one. It's like, no, make another one, okay? Animated movies go so hard in the theater. Have you seen how Demon Slayer performs in theaters? Like, that thing sells so much. So much. Of course, these executives are just like, oh, well, animated film, I don't know. You know what? I want more people on Paramount Plus. It's like, I will never, ever subscribe to Paramount Plus. Do you know what they did to my boy, John Halo? I'm so sorry, John. Yeah, so check it out. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want. I genuinely posted my first video, didn't think it would get any views, so the fact that it got, you know, a few hundred, really, really happy about that. So yeah, every one of these videos, I do try to take it from the perspective of a writer, so I like to talk about writing techniques. I didn't really get too much into that this time, but hopefully I kind of tickled that itch. No, I don't think that's how you say it. Hopefully I scratched that itch. There you go. Yeah, I will see you guys hopefully later when something else comes out that piques my interest, that has some writing things that I can talk about. Okay, love you. Bye.